Hey everybody, Jabman025 here. Today I'm taking a look at my 167th Master Grade, the Gundam Mark V. This particular suit is from the Gundam Side Story Mobile Suit Gundam Sentinel, and this is the villain suit. The Sentinel and later the EXS is the hero suit, this is the villain suit. And this is pretty obscure, so when they announced this as a p-Bandai kit, I was surprised, but decided to pick it up. Now, this thing's weird. This thing almost doesn't feel like a Gundam at certain points. The construction is very different from stuff you're used to. See the pilot inside there? Great Cod. Yes, that's his name. And you can see, this is a torso. Kind of looks like a Gundam, but also kind of doesn't. Put on the head there. The head reminds me of the Psycho Gundam Mark II. This is supposed to be an improved version of the Psycho Gundam Mark I. So I guess that makes sense. So this was kind of developed in the Mark II. Has those big thrusters on the top there. And that reminds me a lot of the Dovin Wolf, which this is eventually, this is a prototype of. So the Dovin Wolf and later the Silver Bullet come out of this thing. But I like the vents. I like the way the white works. Arms, she's got this neat little trick here. It's got a polycap in there, so it'll bend and twist and even a little bit of side-to-side motion. So you get a lot of posability out of this big old thing. I like the cables running down the side of the arm. Like all the movement options you got. I mean, lots of posability out of the arm. And the frame actually looks very, very nice, too. I was impressed by the frame. You see the waist section on there and the arms. I like the gaps they have in there. That's not panel line. That's just the way it comes. You get the gray underneath. I was expecting those white pieces there. I thought when I first saw it, it's going to be water slide decals. Nope. That's already on there. Front skirt armor has a big movement out of the way. There's one really, or I guess two really bad nubs back here. But that's really the only bad nub on the whole thing. And once you have the legs on it, you really don't even see it. The legs make no sense when you're building it. Honestly, none. They're just weird. And they're awesome. It's one of those things, just follow the directions. It'll make sense when you're finished. But as you're building, you're like, I gotta do what? Okay, I guess. But it all makes sense in the end. There, you see it all put together. It's got these big tripod feet on there. Very Silver Bullet look. Like I said, this is developed into the Silver Bullet eventually. Lots of movement out of the feet. Lots of posability. Big old giant feet. So as big as this thing is, it's got plenty of balance because of those giant feet on there. Thrusters have a little bit of movement, but not much. Some side to side, some up and down. The side skirt is attached to the leg. It's not really attached to the waist. It's on the top of the leg there. And again, you get all that white in there. I was expecting all that to be water slide decals, or at least a good chunk of it. Nope. It's pretty much all good to go right there. And here you see them all put together. Big old giant legs on this thing. Weird looking torso. Fairly normal arms. And yeah, this is a big boy. Giant feet on there. Like I said, they're big and they're huge, but they can keep this thing balanced. For all the stuff that's going on, I was expecting terrible balance. Not really. Backpack. Essentially just two big old thrusters, but they are on a hinge system. See here? So they can be moved out, back, up. Those beam sabers up there can be moved out. Thrusters can be moved down. You can have the beam sabers going underneath the arms, so I guess they're like cannons. So there's that option, going a little Freedom Gundam-esque there. Got the accessories here. We start off with this shield. Big old honking thing that hooks onto the arm. I like all the white again. No decals. That's just how it comes. You do get some decals for the cameras, but that's about it. You can attach this onto the back. It acts as a giant thruster, very Hazel-esque. So it's a shield, plus it's a big old thruster. And as big as that thing is, it doesn't weigh a ton. It does make them a little back heavy, but like I said, reposition the feet, you're golden. Next up, missile pods. These things are kind of weird to build. When you're building it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but eventually it does. These attach onto the shoulders. You can spread them out just a tiny bit and open up the doors so it has 6 missiles per shoulder. You have to spread it out just a tiny bit or the doors won't open. As so. So that's an option. I'm not a huge fan of these. I kind of like them. I kind of don't. I was like, I don't know if I'll pose it, have them on there with that. But the nice thing is you can or can't. It's entirely up to you. What do I mean? Well, there are these little doors on each shoulder you can slide out or closed. So if you want them on there, just slide it out, plug it in. If you don't, close them up, nobody knows the difference. Beast of a beam rifle here. Little sticker heavy, got stickers on the top, at the scope, 2 on each side. This all comes clear. If you want to paint it yourself, and with clear blue and clear green and all the lining, you can. Or you can just use the stickers. I just wanted to use the stickers. I think it looks just fine with or without them. If you want to paint them, knock yourself out, but But that's a beast of a beam rifle. And I like the look. I like the 3 tripod things around it. Just, yeah, I don't want to get shot by that. That's nasty looking. 2 BABs, that stands for Big Ass Beam Saber. These hands are the same as the double Zeta hands. So it holds onto it just fine. 2 of them, 2 blades. Holds it just fine. Looks a little awkward, but it's supposed to. It's a giant freaking beam saber. But looks nice. Up next we have what is called the Incom system. This is kind of like the yo-yo of death. Think of it like a wired funnel. Flies out on these wheels and it'll fly in different directions and shoot your enemy. But it's all wired and connected, so it doesn't have like infinite range and it can't fly around in circles. You get 2 of them, wires cut to your specifications. Decals, really nothing to write home about. They got this giant D decal with another decal on top of the decal. And other than that, it's just a whole bunch of small ones. If you wanted to leave the decals off, it's not going to be in the world. That big decal, that big D decal on the left leg, that you might want to do. Just because it adds something to the kit, but pretty small decals. I was expecting a lot more on this thing, quite frankly. I expected almost all that white you see there to be decals. Final thoughts on this kit. I'm giving this kit a big thumbs up. This thing really, really impressed me. It's big, it's highly detailed, it's a great poser, it's got great accessories, good decals. This thing blew me away because I wasn't expecting all that much. I like the history behind it too, or the relevance it has to other series. It reminds me a little bit of the Psycho Mark II. It reminds me a little bit of the Psycho Gundam. It reminds me of the Dovin Wolf, the Silver Bullet, the Double Zeta. It reminds me a little bit of the Zeta. It reminds me of the Sentinel. And it should. It's all around that same general area in the Gundam lore. So the fact that it reminds me of these other suits, but it isn't copying them, is really, really good. I really, really like this kit. It is a big thumbs up for me. This might end up winning Kit of the Year, quite frankly. I know it's a p-Bandai kit, but I don't care. It's that good. It is expensive, though. If you didn't get it at the early release of the p-Bandai store, you're going to pay a pretty penny for it. Even initial release from p-Bandai, we're close to $100. But this has the feeling of someone at Bandai got to make their Holy Grail kit. I have a theory that whoever made this kit, their Holy Grail was the Mark V. They got to make their dream master grade. And it shows, because this thing seems like a labor of love for somebody. There are very, very few flaws with this kit. It's a great poser. It's got great accessories. Everything. This might be the p-Bandai kit that wins Master Grade Kit of the Year. Still got a couple challengers left to go. That Virtue's coming. We'll see. But as of right now, this is your leader, and it's going to be tough to beat. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, please ask them. I will answer them as best as I can. Please stay tuned for more, and please hit that notification bell. I had a lot of people commenting on recent videos, "Oh, I didn't even see this got put up. I didn't even know you reviewed this." I put up videos at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. I like to try and get my reviews up that way. but I notice a lot of people don't even get notified that it comes out. If you hit that bell, it'll notify you when my reviews come out. So please hit that so you know when that stuff comes out so you don't miss anything. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Oh, and one more thing. In Gundam lore, this thing is a vicious, nasty suit. Great God used it to take out 3 Phas units, and basically was wreaking all sorts of havoc with this thing. It has a quasi-SciComm system, so it messes with your head a little bit. And it's also apparently a very nasty suit to pilot. Great God busted all of his teeth making a turn in it. So, yeah, this will hurt the pilot. Wow.